Co out of their platform. What was the reason and what was the effect?
Yeah, I think for point of correction, OPay wasn't removed.
Okay.
OPay has a mobile money license, right? And by that license, they can actually be on NIPS platform.
Okay.
You understand? Then it was just misinformation, that went out there, the way the message was captured.
Okay.
But there was nothing really different from what CBN had really, announced, because we have it on our guidelines. So when CBN is issuing a license, there's a guideline that comes with it that you must adhere to, right? So every license category has its guidelines, right? So for you as a PSSP, the full meaning of PSSP is Payment Service Solution Providers.
Payment
Service Solution Providers. Okay. So what you are doing, you are just giving you are giving people gateway access to process transaction online. So you don't have any interference to deal with a customer.
So you don't have any right to probe or stop any.
No, not at all.
Give them the access.
In fact, you don't have the right to hold funds. You must have a bank that settles all your merchants by that license. You must have a bank.
So you have
the same thing with the mobile money operators as well. So it's good for people to understand. So that's why I hear a lot of people, they say, oh, I just collect my money on this wallet, but I send it to bank. Everything that you have on a mobile money wallet is safe. It's safe because it is domiciled in a bank.
Okay, so
every mobile money operator has a settlement bank. So that funds that you see that is collected on the wallet is domiciled in a bank.
Okay.
Insured by NDIC. They are all licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So they are a full financial institution.
Regardless of the fact that they are mobile?
Yes. Full financial institution.
There's this fear about mobile monies.
No.
Been disappearing, and you make a transaction, it doesn't reflect on the other side. What happens when that such a scenario happens, where there's a transaction that doesn't reflect, or it takes time for people to get the debit alert or the credit alert?
So kudos to NIPS. Before the NIP birth, which is the NIPS instant payment, settlement, right? We back then when you do transaction, it used to, you have to wait, for some hours, before the other person receives. Or when you walk into the traditional banks to feed the tellers, back in the days, if you still remember. But NIPS came up with this concept of instant settlement.
Okay.
Right? With that instant settlement, that's why I told you, every financial institution that is a financial institution, or either bank or other financial institutions like mobile money, PSBs, microfinance, all of them by default are on NIPS platform, right? So by that, right, as all these financial institutions on NIPS platform, if transaction takes place, except there is a network delay or glitch, you get your funds instantly. If it fails, you get instant reversal.
Okay.
You understand? So we need to give, and it's one of the most innovative products. I can guarantee you that if you travel to other European countries or even some Western countries, they are still amazed by the innovation that we have in Nigeria, that you can actually send funds now and the other person receives that value almost immediately. Right? So it is one of the significant progress that we have, had or made in the fintech space or the financial space.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to the issues of CBN. Now, there's been a change of guard from Godwin Emefiele to Yemi Cardoso, and also this new policies that came on have come up, and also there was some change in the board, CBN board. We realized some persons were removed, some were replaced. Just take us through the change, and what does it mean for the Central Bank of Nigeria? And did Godwin Emefiele, did he leave something, a legacy, regardless of all the issues of his arrest and the allegations of having multiple bank accounts?
Yeah, I can't, say anything concerning the Emefiele's case because I can't substantiate it.
Yeah, that's why I say I can't
substantiate it until investigations are done.
No, okay, so
and
aside
evidences
we're
are
looking
provided.
at his tenure.
Yeah.
Could we say the CBN was better for the financial sector, the banks? Were they better for his tenure, regardless of whatever challenges he's facing right now?
Well, it depends from where we want to look at it. You know, like I said, if you look at the numbers I railed out, I said there's significant improvement in terms of value and volume of transaction. In 2001, right, we did roughly about, I think, 278 trillion in terms of electronic transaction, right? In 2002, we did close to about 400 trillion, right? And if you do that month on month, compare those 2 years, month on month, we are always moving at 40 to 45%, you know, increase. Then this year, of course, you should know that we are going to do more than the 400 trillion. We should be looking at either closing at, you know, 500 trillion for this year already. So if you look at the trajectory, you see that there's significant improvement. And there was also an encouragement, you know, for the digital space to thrive as well. Yes, I know there was introduction of the e-Naira, you know, okay. I wouldn't also want to go deeply into that, which is our own digital currency, right? But beyond all of the, you know, controversies or controversial circumstances that we have seen around, I want to say rather that we have witnessed significant progress in terms of, you know, the financial, you know, ecosystem. One of the low side of it was the Japa syndrome. Okay. The Japa syndrome caused a lot of brain drain in the sector.
And it did affect the sector?
Of course, it affected the sector. It affected the sector because most of our tech experts, you know, left the country. And of course, you should know what that, you know, we mean, because almost all of the platform that we have, of course, is powered by technology. And if you have your best brains living, those who already have legacy, you know, because there was also a legacy challenge as well. So those who understood, you know, the platform, those who actually developed that platform, if you have them living, right, of course, it's going to create a lot of, you know, challenges for you. So that's really, really affected, you know, the sector, the industry.
Okay, looking at the new man who's in the helm of affairs, some persons have said he's because of the regular, you know, monetary policy meetings, which it took like forever for the meeting to hold. There was several postponements. Do you think there's a reason for that, and has that giving us a sign to say maybe CADASO is not so prepared?
No. I think he explained the reason why. And I think the man was just following the law. He said, I think you're talking about the NPR.
The NPR.
Yeah, the NPR, he said the NPR was supposed to meet 3 times in a year, and they've already made that quarter already.
But shouldn't there be an obsession? Was he playing smart there, knowing fully?
No.
But the fact that he came on board,
yes, there
was a need for also the fact that we had this inflation crisis.
Yeah,
shouldn't it have been an emergency meeting to bring people on board? Because everybody was like waiting to hear what the new sheriff in town was going to put forward as his policy and the way forward.
So there's something that we Nigerians also need to first come in terms with, which is we need to give everybody an opportunity to prove themselves.
Okay.
There's a saying that it's not how one starts that matters. It's how one ends that matters to the cheering and applauding crowd.
But don't they
right?
also say that you know how good the day is going to be from the morning?
Yeah, but it will be very unwise.
Okay.
Yeah, for someone to just because he wants to satisfy the public,
okay, to
go out and begin to reel out, you know, fictitious reports or fictitious forecasts that are not incommensurate or they are not really mirroring the economy. So he needs to understand what has gone wrong, if any. He needs to understand, you know, what exactly, you know, the policy trajectory will be, you know, for the management. He is not also taking the decision alone because it's not a one-man show. You know, he's also having his management to, you know, to liaise with. Then, of course, with the board as well. So it's going to be like a two-way communication for them to rub heads together and even have some engagement with even the Minister of Finance. While one is controlling the fiscal policy, the other is controlling the monetary policy. So they need to have a handshake and understand how they are going to formulate the policy and drive the economy of Nigeria. And I think the man has started well, because if you look at some of the tweaks that we are already seeing, you can see that he has already, removed CBN for directly intervening, in the economy, like all of those interventionist monetary policies, that were done in the past. He has suspended it, and he said he would like the CBN to focus on the policy regulatory framework or policy regulation that they are, there to provide. And that's the reason why you see that there's a whole lot happening, as to sanitizing the system of the financial sector in Nigeria.
Okay, but looking forward, you said there have been some tweaks already. Could you expatiate on some of the new policies you think, aside the one you mentioned, the CBN not having direct interventions? Are there other policies, especially towards the banks and the NDIC? Would you say the NDIC has been forthcoming also? Can we look at the NDIC, how well it has done?
Yeah, so for NDIC, which is the insurer of money depositors, yeah, right? They've tried their best, but they just need to up their game to ensure that, because CBN, I won't lie to you, CBN has done significantly well in terms of catching up, because regulators have to play a game of catch up. The technology, when you wake up today, technology changes. So technology is, catching, fire in the entire ecosystem, right? Yeah. So NDIC needs to also restructure and reprogram, their organization to suit, right? To suit the fintech space, to suit the digital finance space, right? Because you cannot regulate a sector you don't understand.
True.
Right? And to a reasonable extent, we've had a lot of people who have had experience, in the digital financial space. So you can draw from that. There are trainings that can be done. I remember in 2018, I trained NDIC staff. Myself and some of my colleagues, we trained NDIC staff on mobile money operations, in Nigeria. And I think a couple of those kind of trainings are also taking place. But it has to go beyond just training. I feel the NDIC also needs to bring in some technocrats in the industry to be part of the management of NDIC, so that they can help them retweak the entire process of how they go about their regulatory assignments.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other big thing we saw in the financial sector for 2023 was the ever-increasing inflation in Nigeria. At the last count was 28.2%. What does this mean? This was, I think, 1996 or so. We had the highest number, about 45%.
Yes.
Let's look at the...
And 2005 as well.
2005.
Yeah.
Let's look at what this means for 2023 and why we will step into 2024. But for 2023, what were the indicators that made this inflation keep going, increasing?
Yeah, I mean, the legendary subsidy removal. I call it the legendary subsidy because everybody has spoken about
it. Yeah.
Well, but we knew that it was a monster that needed to, leave the system.
Has it completely left? Because at times you hear the federal government talk from both sides of the mouth.
No, I think it has left. After the withdrawal of fuel subsidy, of course, you should expect the ripple effect across the entire economic chain, right? And that's the reason why you see that transportation have increased. And once transportation increases, the cost of goods, ferrying goods from one point to another also increases as well. So there's a multiplier effect, or there's a connective chain that is going to almost affect every part of the economy, right? Down from even your house rent, from school fees, all of these things have a ripple effect. And just that removal of fuel subsidy is exactly what has, actually caused this significant jump. And even the food inflation itself has skyrocketed, right? And of course, I just mentioned one of the reasons. Cost of transportation, of course, is one of the major reasons.
Where does the insecurity and the agricultural sector
come into place? I'm actually, insecurity also played a major role. Why? I think, I don't know whether it was the last time I appeared there when I spoke about, the lack of activities in the rural areas, in the agricultural sector. Why? Because if you have insecurity there, we've heard stories of farmers, have to pay their way to get to their farm, to pay their way to harvest and all of that. So you should expect that all of those costs, because they are going to actually identify all of those expenses as cost. They are going to put it on the end product that they are also selling to either the off-takers or the market, the direct market itself. So all of these, will definitely have its own negative effect, to the economy. Yes, insecurity has played a very, very major role in terms of, and you have lesser people going to farm because of fear. They are scared going to the farm, farm right now. And that is even worrisome, because what that is telling us is that we might be witnessing food shortages if we don't take care. If we don't really address the situation, we might be witnessing food shortages. We might have crisis in our hands, right? So we really need to adhere strictly, to those security, guidelines. Right. Ensure that we secure the entire community in those rural areas for them to build confidence to go back to farm. That is really, really affecting the economy.
Okay, in terms of, still talking about inflation, does the borrowing, the endless borrowing of the previous government, this current government, does it have a role to play in the steady rise in Nigeria's inflation rate we've seen over the year 2023?
Yeah, so there's something else I will also even point out to you that is causing it. The conditional cash transfer. Because it's simple logic. Even if you're not an economist, the more money you pump into the system, right, it means more people now have purchasing powers, to go after the little goods that are available. And if that happens, right, prices increases, right?
Because demand is
higher than supply. So, and when that curve is not balanced, right? When that curve, you have not flattened that curve, you definitely expect inflation to go higher. Yes, so some of those funds that are coming in, you want to ask yourself, where are they channeled to? Are they channeled into recurring payment? Are they channeled into procurement? Are they channeled into capital projects? Or if it is channeled towards capital project that can generate employment and also generate income, then it makes sense. But if it is channeled towards, making procurement and maybe servicing even some internal, debt, then I think we will have some challenges. Yeah.
All right. Let's still looking at. Let's look at as we about wrapping up our discussions. Let's look at 2024 now. What will be the plan now for the financial sector, the fintechs, the CBN, the federal government, especially also if we consider the recent confidence economic report as regards IGR of states. Put all this together, how do we perceive 2024 to be looking?
2024 is going to be great, most especially for the financial sector. But there's something that needs to change.
Why are you optimistic?
Yeah, because globally it has been forecasted that mobile wallet adoption is going to increase significantly. And that, you already saw the handwriting in the beginning of this year that is about to wrap up, right? So 2024 is going to be very, very significant, for the fintech space. But there's something that needs to change if we must achieve those gains. And that thing is process re-engineering for the financial technology space. Like I said, you have a lot of people who don't have experience, who have ideas, who are innovative, bring up good technology products, but they are unable to take it to the market. Why? Because they lack the experience. They also lack the willpower to bring in experts that can help them drive that can help them drive a good strategy, a go-to-market strategy to push those products out. So that has to change, right? Then oversaturation of fintechs domiciled in Lagos also has to change.
Why is it domiciled in Lagos?
You know, everybody have this idea that once you are positioned in Lagos, you know, you are known, you know, you begin to make money. Lagos has the population. But what they've forgotten is that Lagos is already saturated. So those people who need these financial products are in the rural and peri-urban center. And in my opening glee, I spoke about the product that is about to be launched. If that product is launched, trust me, it's going to redefine the entire financial ecosystem. Even the traditional financial institutions, I'm pretty sure will key into that product as well. Because I know that is one of the products that a lot of experts have been waiting for to see how they can really take to the market.
Okay, still looking at 2024 for the private sector. How key would it be for the private sector? Do you think we're going to see more PPP, private partnership, public-private partnership between government and the private sector?
Oh, sure. There's going to be a lot of handshake between the public sector and the private sector.
Okay.
The Nigerian economy is actually really going digital right now. So the handshake is going to come in both infrastructure and operation provider, and operation provision, right? Infrastructure in the sense that all of those rural areas and peri-urban centers I spoke about, we need to have a penetration of network, active network. in those communities. Okay. Then for operators will now begin to bring in innovative products that can service farmers, agriculture, the agricultural sector, the transportation sector, the logistics sector, right? The online, the market space. Everybody is going, online right now to do business. So you will see a huge impact in terms of market space activities, because everybody wants to position their items there. We are going beyond breaking that barrier of traditional market and moving into the digital space, like I said. So almost everybody is packaging and repackaging their products and their services to be visible online. And that is exactly where the market is. So almost all the products that you have, insurance products, the credit product, which is microfinance, loans, right? Even pension, PenCon, everything is going digital, where you need to target even wage earners, right? To encourage them to save for the future. And I can guarantee you that a lot of people are waking up to that reality right now. But again, we need to create an enabling environment for all of this to thrive. We need to go back again. I don't want to use the word drawing board. We just need to go back, rethink, retweak, then ensure that we get in the right people to man the strategic economic verticals before we can now begin to reap the benefits that are actually coming in 2024. But I promise you that 2024 is going to be very, very massive. And there's also a lot of activities taking place across countries. So cross-border trades are actually happening. So cross-border payment is even right now projected between now to 2027 to hit around $27 trillion.
Wow.
Yes, $27 trillion.
Trades between countries.
Yes, trade between countries. It's already happening. So, and it has been forecasted that it's going to definitely, jump from the current percentage that we have now to a huge chunk of percentage. So, cross-border payment is going to also drive the economy faster for us. So, the more visible people's products are online, the more people have access to it, because the online space is a global space. So everybody can have access to it. So there's going to be a huge activities. So I'm seeing a lot of collaboration with Euronext, Afri-Nexim Bank.
Okay.
Yes, Afri-Nexim Bank, the Trade and Investment. Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Trade. Right. I see a collaboration with Ministry of Trade. I see a collaboration with the import-export, right? I see a whole lot of collaboration taking place, even in the agricultural space. So if all of these, are well harmonized, you will see a significant improvement in the Nigerian economy.
All right. Still, as we wrap it up, let's just look in terms of the borrowing. The DMO, that's the Debt Management Office, has raised several alarms as regards the rate of borrowing. In 2024, I know there still be some borrowing and servicing of debt. What will be your advice in terms of debt management in 2024?
Yeah, so the advice is simple, which is exactly what is giving pressure to the currency.
The currency.
You know, we didn't even mention the exchange rate problem that we have in the country. You see, if you don't produce and consume in your country, and you keep on depending on importation, and you keep on buying from outside your country, what it means is you are creating an economy for other people. You are creating jobs for other countries. You are creating jobs for other regions. So we need to think differently. We need to bring those economic activities back home. We've gotten the market in Nigeria. The population is there. The bordering countries are there. Markets are there. I know that I can tell you for free that Bua Cement leaves Nigeria to as far as Burkina Faso and Mali. So that tells you a lot of the economic activities that is taking place in Nigeria. So we need to think differently to attract a lot of forex into the country.
Yeah.
So once we have a lot of forex into the country, you know, the government will be able to do a lot with the reserves that we have. But before we can, you know, attract those reserves, before we can attract those forex, we need to tweak a lot of things. Whether we like it or not, like I told you, the cross-border payment is moving. The international trade, the international activities in terms of financial activities that is also taking place is huge, right? So we need to focus on how we can look at aggregating all of the platforms that are not visible to Nigeria, right? The platforms that are not visible to Nigeria but are engaged in forex activities. We need to see how they can regulate that sector more. We need to see how that sector can be more visible, and we bring it into the formal financial space. Okay. And I know that I can tell you for free that there's a whole lot happening in the system that they are looking at to see how they can really sanitize the process of, you know, stabilizing what happens in the exchange rate platform, digital exchange rate platform.
When you talk about regulations, doesn't that contradict the fact that the Nigerian government has over the years paid lip service to this issue of ease of doing business environment for Nigeria? Have we succeeded? If you look at 2023, would you say we've succeeded in achieving that ease of doing business in the country, especially when we want investors to come? And even companies in Nigeria, have they gotten that business environment, that ease?
Yeah,
in terms of looking at multiple taxation and other you know, infractions.
Exactly where I was going to. See, what we need to, you know, at least give this administration some kudos.
Kudos, okay.
Because for them to even mention it, to say they need to make Nigeria attractive enough for investors to come in.
But we had that in previous administrations.
Yeah, but
the ease was never there.
Yeah, but you want to ask what activities actually, you know, moved forward from what was said versus what was done.
Okay.
Right. So, but this administration is doing something differently. You know, a lot of technocrats have been brought into the different ministries and NDAs, right? And you can see that there's a conscious effort weighing investors into Nigeria.
Okay.
And there are certain things that have been tweaked, which we also didn't talk about. I will mention it.
Okay.
Which is first unifying the exchange rate, right? So because investors...
When you say unifying, in layman's terms...
Yeah, unifying the exchange rate. So first, we have what they call official rate.
Official rate. Sure.
You know, we don't have that any longer. We just have a single rate. Yeah, even though you can call it official,
yeah.
But at least it's also reflecting what the current value of the Naira is, you know, versus what we used to have. So this will sort of encourage a lot of investors to have confidence in the economy to come and invest, right? Because every investor that is coming in is also looking at ROI, return on investment, right? So I know that if I invest X amount in the next 5, 4, 3 years, I should be able to get my return on investment on what I have invested.
So
everybody will be gauging your economy to see how the economy is before they can develop that confidence to come in. So that investment promotion is there for the this current government. They've been doing it. They are doing it. Then, of course, you mentioned multiple taxation. Sure. And if you heard from what they've said, they are trying to harmonize, the tax system, so that we can go away from the multiple. If they clean up the system, you will be surprised that once they cut all of those leakages and they are able to harmonize the tax collection, we are even going to generate far more than we are currently generating. What we currently have is just leakages in the system. And the leakages in the system are created with exchange of cash. In as much as cash is still in exchange to pay tax, of course, you should expect leakages in the system. But once we fully digitize the entire space, you're going to see a lot of benefits, that comes out from there. So these are all the things that investors are looking at to see. They look at your inflation rate, they look at the exchange rate, they look at, almost all the ease of doing business, and of course the security. Because every investor wants to come in and be confident enough that the place is secured. And I think the current administration is doing a lot to see how they can boost that confidence back. And I see positive outlook for us in first quarter of 2024.
All right. So your final take in terms of 2024, your final projection will be there's going to be successful businesses. Nigeria is going to generate more income. Our foreign reserves should do well, and we should produce more and eat more.
Yes, actually, if we can do all of these, in summary, I want to believe that the current administration is also listening. They also know what to do as well. Nigeria, trust me, Nigeria is a huge market, huge market. A lot of people are before any investor can be confident enough to move into the African continent, the place they look at first is Nigeria. Because they know that if they get it right in Nigeria, chances are they can replicate the same success model in different African countries. And even other African countries are looking up to Nigeria as well. We've gotten the brains, right? We've gotten the brains, we've gotten the resources in Nigeria. What we just need to do is that, thought process of leadership, coming together to see how they can harmonize these resources together to give us, a better result. And I am really, really optimistic that Nigeria is going to be very, very, have a positive economic outlook in 2024.
All right, so on that very positive note, we're going to call it a wrap on today's edition of the program, Global Money. I want to say a big thank you to the Vice Chairman of the Association of Licensed Mobile Payment of Nigeria. His name is Issa Lee Shatta. He is the head of the Unlimit Nigeria. Thank you for a great job done this morning, breaking down the financial sector and also giving us something positive for 2024. All right, so that's how we call it a wrap on Africa's Finest Breakfast Show, Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Anthony Momodu, saying go out there, try to make Nigeria truly great again. Good morning, Nigeria.